I am slowly recovering from flu-like symptoms. Again, I apologize if my voice sounds off or mopey. I truly am trying to be as cheerful as possible during these recordings. Now, back to our story. The Confederate Heartland Offensive was now finished, and Bragg was once again returned to his men after meeting with Confederate President Jefferson Davis. Bragg had his army move south to camp around the city of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. All was quiet on the front for over a month until General Rosecrans moved his troops from Nashville, Tennessee to the area to confront Bragg. Come along with us as Bragg meets his new foe on the battlefield. All aboard the Kentucky-Tennessee Living Time Machine. Please fasten your seatbelts and keep your arms and legs inside of the vehicle at all times. But to get going, we need your help. We still need to fire up that time machine to transport us. Please help us by clicking on the like, subscribe, and bell notification buttons down below. Not only does this fire up the time machine for our flight back in time, but it convinces the YouTube algorithm that we need a bigger vehicle to reach more people who love history as much as you do. Now, back to our story. The Confederate Side. Because Bragg had been in the area for over a month, he was able to form a huge arc with his men, covering the major routes into Chattanooga, Tennessee. Bragg now had 37,712 troops at his command. 12 miles to the east and to the right of Bragg, at Readyville, was Major General John P. McGowan and his troops. To Bragg's left was Lieutenant General William Hardee, that was 20 miles west of Eagleville and Tryon. Guarding the center of the arc was Lieutenant General Leonidas Polk in Murfreesboro. Tensions between Bragg and his subordinate generals had not cooled in the month since they reported Bragg's actions to the Confederate President Jefferson Davis. There was even a bitter and heated war of words between Bragg and Kentucky Confederate Major General John C. Breckinridge. Breckinridge was a former Vice President of the United States and now commanded a division of Hardee's troops. Breckinridge felt that Bragg questioned their loyalty to the cause because Kentucky did not stay with the Confederates. Bragg was bitter that Kentucky did not rise to the cause and the state had fallen to the Union hands. The Union side. Union Major General Don Carlos Buell had been dismissed as commander over the Union Army. Now Ohio Major General William S. Rosecrans, Old Rosie, was now in charge. This new appointment came from President Abraham Lincoln and Chief of Staff Henry W. Halleck, who had hoped to spur the Union Army into action and once and for all to defeat Bragg. Rosecrans had spent the month of November with the Union troops in Nashville, Tennessee, just 30 miles north of Bragg's position. By Christmas, Rosecrans had come up with a plan. He divided his 43,400-man army into three separate wings under the commands of Major Generals Alexander McCook, George H. Thomas, and Thomas Crittenden. Rosecrans then ordered the three wings to begin their march towards Murfreesboro. To Rosecrans' left was Major General Thomas Crittenden, who was advancing using Murfreesboro Pike. Major General George H. Thomas was advancing through the center, using the Franklin Pike to Brentwood, then eastward to the Murfreesboro Pike. To Rosecrans' right was Major General Alexander McCook, who advanced along Nolensville Pike and took the back roads to Murfreesboro area. Skirmishes and Raids. There were rebels along the way that were hiding in every ridge and ford that was skirmishing with the moving army. One successful raid was pulled off by 26-year-old Major General Joseph Wheeler. In 48 hours, Wheeler was able to sneak his men around the moving army to capture 300 wagons of supplies from the supply trains of Major General Alexander McCook. Around midday on December 30th, 1862, Wheeler again was successful when he raided the supply train near the town of Laverne. Wheeler's rebel band was able to destroy nearly $1 million in supplies and was able to capture and parole 800 prisoners. We have a description of this raid from the source Bragg versus Rosecrans. Quote, the men of General M.B. Walker's brigade of Thomas Corps happened upon the scene during the night, and one observer described the incredible sight. Quote, the turnpike, as far as the eye could see, was filled with burning wagons. The country was overspread with disarmed men, broken down horses, and mules. The streets were covered with empty valises and trunks, knapsacks, broken guns, and all the indescribable debris of a captured and rifled army train. Unquote. By 2 a.m. on December 31st, Wheeler was able to ride into Bragg's camp victorious. As he had caused confusion in the Union rear flank, destroyed and captured a vast amount of supplies, acquired a few mounts for the Confederate troops, and captured enough equipment and clothing to supply an entire brigade. The terrain. One of the most important deciders of any battle is the terrain. Who has the best advantage using what is already there? The ground was covered with huge boulders, outcroppings of limestone, and thick glades of Tennessee red cedar. But this was not helpful for the defense of the area. There simply was not enough cover with these obstacles to use effectively, as most of the area was open from every direction. Stone's River itself offered no help for the Confederates. In fact, the river divided Bragg's troops. To try to counter this, Bragg placed his troops accordingly. According to the Bragg versus Rosecrans source, quote, the general placed Polk's corps to the west of the stream, with the division of Major General Jones M. Withers in front, and that of Major General Benjamin Franklin Cheatham a few hundred yards behind. Hardee's corps was placed east of the river, just outside of Murfreesboro, with Breckinridge in front and the veteran division of Major General Patrick Claiborne in close support. McCall's division was reserved in the center, while the cavalry brigades of Wheeler and Brigadier General John Wharton covered the left and right flanks respectively. Crittenden anchored the Union left against Stone's River and stretched his line southward toward the Nashville Turnpike. Rosecrans directed Thomas to place the division of Major General James S. Neely in line between Crittenden and the Wilkinson Pike further south. A second of Thomas' divisions, commanded by Major General Lovell H. Rousseau, was held in reserve. McCook swung into line on the right of Neely and extended the Union front still farther south into the Franklin Road. Unquote. Oddly enough, this terrain also influenced the way that Rosecrans placed his men. Both generals came up with identical plans of attack. The left flanks from both sides would attack the opponent's right flanks, while the right and center flanks would remain steadfast. Rosecrans would order that the center and right flanks would skirmish to test the strength of the Confederate line before them throughout the battle. In next week's video, we will begin before the actual Battle of Stone's River with the Union Captain Warren P. Egerton's Battery E, 1st Ohio Artillery Regiment, and their journey to Murfreesboro to join the fight. Thank you. Kentucky Tennessee Living would like to thank you for watching our video series on the Appalachian Civil War battles. Don't forget to hit that like button, as the more likes we receive, the more likely YouTube is to suggest our videos to other viewers. Also, to receive notice when we upload a new video, be sure to subscribe and click the bell notification button. Please be sure to double check that you are subscribed, as some of our viewers are finding that they are no longer subscribed to our channel. We thank you for continuing to support Kentucky Tennessee Living as we are discovering the mysteries in Appalachian history.